Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is Mr. Shakespeare again with you on the 9th of January 2025. I'm joined as usual by psychic medium and a remote viewer, Liz Cross. How are you doing today, Liz?
Oh, good. Thank you. The markets are closed today because of oh God, I can't even think of his name. Sorry, Jimmy Carter's funeral. They're closed today. You didn't know that, Mr. Shakespeare, did you?
I
They've given
did not know that. No, I wonder why volume was so down on everything, but that'll be why then. So, okay.
Yeah. So, Elon Musk, he's stirring up trouble, or so it seems, in the UK. Why?
I think this is my opinion. Don't know. We can find out, but I think this is something to do with Trump. He might be doing it. I think Trump is trying to, push back against England because obviously British establishment has caused quite a lot of trouble and is constantly causing a lot of trouble for America. And I think maybe this might be some pushback to give them some of their own, medicine. I don't know. There's been a lot of information going on, especially about all these gangs and grooming gangs and stuff like that, which were horrendously covered up by the Crown Prosecution Service, whose head at the time was Keir Starmer, who was then knighted for his services, who became for not doing certain things, I think, and now is Prime Minister. So, this is long overdue. I don't know. It's just, you know, this is what I think. Britain's caught.
It's
Go on.
sorry, it's very bizarre. The grooming for those of us outside of the UK, can you explain what the grooming thing was? Because I don't think people know.
Yeah, so these gangs, these were um, organized. I mean, it's been going on for a long time, 20 years perhaps. Um, so there were certain, mainly in the north of the country, but not exclusively in the north, but mainly in the north of the country, in certain, towns and cities, Bradford, Leeds, those kind of areas come to mind. Um, And these were gangs of people, not in a gang as in a New York street gang or anything like that. They were just bunches of people who had the same, you know, twisted and perverted idea of what they should be doing to English children. Uh, a lot of it was covered up, most of it was covered up. Um, and the reason it was covered up is because at the time we were told that we didn't want to upset certain areas and certain areas of the community of a certain religious persuasion. So I think that was used as the excuse. I don't actually think that was the whole reason. I think it was more of a divide and conquer type thing. But this was going on whilst Keir Starmer, who was just Keir Starmer at the time. Now, the way that the system works is that the police do the investigation and then they bring everything along to something called the CPS. The CPS is the Crown Prosecution Service. The Crown Prosecution Service is staffed with lawyers and they decide which case or cases to take and whether to take them to trial or not. And basically the order must have come down, and you've got to look at who the head of the CPS was at the time, and it was Keir Starmer, not to prosecute and not to go with these. So there were investigations done, and I'm assuming then that when the police were either told not to take it too seriously or not to go very far with it, or maybe the police would, realize that these weren't going to court, so why would they waste their time? Meanwhile, and we're talking about all sorts of horrible things that, I don't really want to talk
Oh
about on the
yeah.
channel. I mean, stuff that should never, I mean, with kids, children. And I
Let
think
let me let me give
Musk,
this to you. Can I tell you this? Sorry. So, two things. One, the reason I ended up working for the police initially was because I had just finished my law degree. And at that time, the Crown Prosecution Service, if you remember Mr. Shakespeare, used to be based in the police station. So you had direct contact between investigators and the Crown Prosecution Service. If you do you remember that? They used to be based at the police station.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, the Crown Prosecution Service rightly looks at every case and then decides whether to take it on or not. I mean, if
Mm,
it's frivolous or if there's so little evidence, there's little chance of,
mm,
securing a conviction, then a lot of times they will drop things
mm.
because they don't think, either there is not enough evidence and they just don't think they're going to get a conviction. A lot of these
Right.
cases, there were overwhelming evidence, but so there was political pressure put in under the guise of racial, no racial discrimination or something like that. I don't think this was a race thing, more of a religious thing, actually. So I don't think race really came into this. Um,
Well, the second thing I was going to tell you is, believe it or not, one of the grooming gang members from Rotherham worked in dispatch with me. Can you believe that? Nobody had any idea. Nobody had a clue. He was very quiet. He came in, he did his job, he left, and we knew that. And with dispatch you have condensed shifts, right? So you can work like 3 days on, 5 days off, 5 days on, 5 days off, things like that. So on his days on, he lived with family in London, but on his days off, he went home to his own family in Rotherham, right? Because it's cheaper to live in Rotherham than it is to live in London. And suddenly, after all this news broke out, and of course it was brushed under the carpet, he was gone. We didn't know where he had gone. And then everybody's like, well, what happened to, Mo is what we called him. What happened to Mo? And we found out he was one of them. And he's in jail. No, I don't know if he's still in jail. He probably is. But can you believe that? We had a grooming gang member who worked alongside us in dispatch for the London Metropolitan Police. Anyway, I wanted to tell you that.
okay. So this was orchestrated. It was definitely conspired and put together as a thing. It was, it wasn't somebody just woke up one day and thought they would do this or a bunch of individuals. No, people conspired to do this. And there were lots of English, mainly girls, young girls, that were put through undescribable things. And I think what Musk is doing is he's shining the spotlight where spotlights don't like to be shined. And of course, he's basically saying, why has this not been investigated? Um, and of course, they're now attacking Musk as they do because they're saying, well, he shouldn't be interfering. But of course, this was the same Labour government that sent 100 advisors to basically sabotage Trump when, before the election. So that was Britain interfering with American election, and that's up to him. He just happens to be a billionaire. He just happens to have a free speech platform, and he just happens to be, on the tip of most people's tongues. But England's in a whole world of problems at the moment. We've,
Mm.
stupidly elected the wrong government, and we've got basically a World Economic Forum member who's running it, and we're going downhill fast. And so, that they don't want all of this kind of stuff coming out. Now, whether Starmer will survive, I don't know. He can't be removed by just because Trump says, sorry, or Musk says anything like this. The Labour Party would have to remove him, and a lot of them are knee deep into all of this. They've just had a vote in Parliament whether there should be an inquiry into this, a national inquiry, and overwhelmingly they voted no, there shouldn't. So Labour had a huge majority. All the Labour MPs voted against it. So it probably won't happen. They've got a big majority in Parliament, so it's going to be very, very tough. Other than in the court of public opinion, you know, what we do know is that the Labour leader Starmer at the moment, his popularity is at the all-time low. I don't think there's been a more unpopular prime minister, not in my lifetime anyway. I don't think so. So he's hovering around the bottom anyway. But that still doesn't mean he's got to go or will go. You know?
Right. So, first question to Elon Musk for the Mind Probe. Is Trump telling you what to say? I gotta know. Is Trump telling you to tweet to Keir Starmer and the UK and to ruffle all the feathers over there? No.
Mm,
Has Trump told you not to? So now he's actually been advised on some level to sort of calm it down a bit.
yeah.
Um, because it could get in the way of diplomatic relations. So why are you not listening to that advice? He said, because I don't want to. Now, those are Musk's personal thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And so this leads on to a lot of other questions, which is, does he have a filter? So let's ask him what he thinks. Do you think that you have a filter, uh, for to be mindful of what you say? He doesn't really care.
No. Okay. Well, all right.
What else would you like to know, Mr. Shakespeare?
What would I like to know? Um,
Is he going to buy Liverpool Football Club? I'm getting a no. Does he
okay.
want to? Yes, he does.
Why does he want to?
Ooh, why do you want to buy Liverpool? Because he loves England. And why do you want to buy Liverpool? Because he wants to own a piece of England.
Okay. Well, I mean, Liverpool's owned by an American at the moment. American, I think the same people who own the Red Sox. I think. Can't remember his. I'm trying to think of their holding their name. I can picture the guy and his wife, but I can't. I can't think of the name of the company. And they've done pretty well for Liverpool. So, all right, fair enough. Is he? Is he trying to? Is he? Okay, I'm reading now some of the questions you've sent me that you got on your Patreon. Is he planning? Sorry, start again. Is he trying to help oust Keir Starmer, um, or ultimately improve the UK political scene?
You trying to oust Keir Starmer? Yes, he wants to force him to resign. Are you trying to improve the UK political scene? Absolutely. It's gone to the dogs. That's exactly what he just said to me.
Yeah, I can't disagree with him. That's with that one because it has. Yeah, okay. Um, why is
But
he getting involved?
you and I predicted that a
Yeah,
couple of years ago. You remember?
yeah.
We did a thing that went out into the future where uh, most countries are starting to see economic recovery, and the UK was sliding backwards. So it's all come into fruition.
Yeah. So why is he getting involved with the AfD in Germany? They are apparently the only party that can save Germany, according to many people. And of course, now there's, the existing liberals and Greens want to ban them. So much for democracy. But anyway, because obviously Germany is, going down fast. They've lost access to their cheap, reliable Russian gas through their own fault. America blew up Nord Stream allegedly, and now they're having to buy all their gas at about three times the cost from America. So that's good for America, not so good for Germany. So Germany are losing a lot of their industry, a lot of everything, and the Germans are just watching it happen. The only people that seem to be sticking up for the Germans is the AfD, led by a woman called Alice Weidel, I believe. So why is he sticking up? Why is he getting involved with AfD?
Why are you getting involved in AfD? Because he wants to help the people.
So okay, yep, all right.
That's what he said.
He's shown great concern for the implementation and proliferation of AI. What are his concerns specifically?
What are your concerns for specifically about AI? What was that? That it will take over, that it will make humans basically humans will no longer be needed. What do you mean? Are you talking in terms of employment? Yes, but in terms of everything domestic, uh cleaning, cooking, are you scared that it's going to take away like the family unit? It could. It could. AI could take over everything, the running of the household. And why does that bother you? Because it's wrong. So he seems to be coming in from like a very traditional, I mean, I know he's not a traditional really person, but a very traditional household. Do you believe it's going to ruin the bonding and the glue between humans? He goes, absolutely, he does. Now, you know, Mr. Shakespeare, our probe last week about the middle class, people freaked out.
Yeah,
They totally freaked out. Guess what? Then on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, there was a news conference of Trump and some of his advisors. And what did they say? Oh, we are going to implement AI and robotics. We are going to streamline. People are going to get laid off or made redundant. Everything that we said that was going to happen into the future, it's starting even this week. I mean, certainly with that speech of how they plan to implement AI and robotics, which is what we got in 30 years' time, there's going to be a lot higher levels of unemployment and a lot of the middle class will start to diminish. And I don't know why that information was so disturbing to people. I would rather be in the know than not be in the know. Because now you can plan for that. But some people like totally freaked out. Now, the other rebuttal to that that people had was what we now have discovered is this misinterpretation of what some other psychics or spiritualists put out there, which is this, but we're going into 4D and we're going into 5D. Liz has never really talked about that. And the reason being is because 4D and 5D are a state of consciousness. At that consciousness level of 4D and 5D, material things are not so important, right? You're more one with the universe. The problem is that people have misinterpreted that information to think that it's going to be Nasara, that all debts are going to be forgiven. We won't have to worry about wanting for everything. Food is going to be given to us, healthcare is going to be given to us. Now, I mean, I know that's a broad brushstroke, but that I got loads of emails pouring in about, well, what happened to, free everything and having an abundant life? And that was from the 4D and the 5D consciousness. Lots of emails, but that's a
I
total
mean, all that's been that was
misinterpretation.
debunked. Well, that a lot of that was debunked by Cliff High, 20 years ago. There is no Nasara, there's no Gasara, there's no free money, there's no free handouts, none of that. None of that's ever going to happen. They have spent their eternity, the bankers, getting everybody in debt and subservient. They are not going to release you all from the debts now. That is, sorry, that's not very clever thinking, in my opinion. Anyway,
Well, but people actually, I guess they're putting out this information, and B, people actually believe it.
well,
When have
whoever's
you
putting
ever
it out,
known?
they're either putting it out for one of two reasons, clickbait, that type of thing for clicks, yeah, or they're doing people, and they believe it themselves, or they know and they're just putting it out to continue the mean to keep the masses, stupefied, to want of a better word, you know.
Well, but when have you ever known in the history of mankind or even in the animal kingdom that this is not a competitive place? It's extremely competitive, right? The universe is extremely competitive. How do you know that, Liz? Well, because the whole basis of the universe is light is competing against the dark and dark is competing against the light. The whole system is highly competitive. So, anyway. people freaked out, Mr. Shakespeare. Oh my God, they were
And we
so
have, but
angry.
I'm not so sure why. We've done a similar probe about 2, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, when we went out a bit further actually.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean that's prepare for it. And don't fight it. You can't stop it. It's going to happen. I mean, how much of it will happen over what time, I don't know. But certainly from an employment point of view, the white collar, what I call the white collar jobs, those will be gone. They will because AI can do that, and those people will, most of the bureaucratic, um, people, those kind of things, those are the ones that will go first. Now, whether AI can cut your hair, well, no, it can't. It would need a robot. Is that going to happen anytime soon in the next few years? No, not properly, not on a mass scale. So hairdressers are okay. So are plumbers.
Right. And those types of hands-on jobs, yes. But then don't forget what we got was that there'll be so many of those where we have to
Yeah,
pay.
yeah, I know the price. I'm sure that, well, that's market forces applying, isn't it? Everybody will become a hairdresser or an electrician. I don't know, probably quicker to become a hairdresser. Um,
But it's interesting that Elon Musk is actually coming back to us on this probe and sort of saying the same thing
mm.
without even knowing about the video that we did last week. He's even coming back saying that his reservations about AI is that it will take over the basic need for being human. Why have humans at all if we have AI?
Well, yeah, okay, that's a whole different subject, isn't it? Here's some more questions that you sent me. No, he means what are the coins that Elon is planning to implement into his X payment platform? For example, XRP, is it Doge, is it XLM, is it another coin? What's he planning on doing? Because he wants to make X have a proper payment platform. I mean, obviously he's got experience via his time at PayPal, so is he going to use any of the current cryptos out there?
Are you going to accept cryptos as a form of payment on your X platform? He would like to. Do you have any particular ones in mind that you would like to use? Yes. And what is it? Is it Bitcoin? Yes. He wants to do a mixture. Ethereum? No. XRP? Yes. Doge? No.
XLM?
XLM? Possibly.
But I mean, is he going to weave them into the fabric of um to make them part of the payment system, or is he going to just say Bitcoin and say XRP can be used?
Are you going to weave it into the fabric, or are you and say that they can be used? Yes, there's going to be a lot of different payment options. Yes.
Okay. Will Elon be turning the public's attention to and I'm going to put the alleged corruption of Gavin Newsom? Not sure why I've used that word, I suppose because we have to.
Are you going to turn your attention to Gavin Newsom? No, he's leaving Gavin Newsom alone for the time being. Why? Because he's got bigger fish to fry. That's exactly what he just said to me. I've got bigger fish to fry. Are you talking about Europe? Yes. He's going to stay all over Europe for the moment.
Right. Okay.
Now, I have
Um,
to ask this question. Is it because Europe, did they ban the Tesla truck because of the specifications? There's too many pedestrians, there's too many sharp edges. I mean, do you
yeah,
know
yeah,
what?
yeah. It's pretty much banned because it's just too big for European roads. Yeah.
Okay, so let's ask this question. Are you upset because they banned the Tesla truck in Europe? He is upset. He is.
It's too big. It's not built for English roads or European roads. Uh,
Hmm.
is it his plan that Starlink will be the mass communication device for the world?
Is it your plan that Starlink will be the mass communication device for the world? Eventually, yes, he's very hopeful. Mm-hmm.
So here's another question from a lady on our on your Patreon rather. Uh, and I'm quoting, I hear there is a black eye club where lots of powerful people end up with a black eye or black eyes, usually the right side. I have seen pictures of Musk with a bruised eye. Is he in that club?
Oh my God. Is there such a thing as a black eye club? He doesn't actually know. Are you in the black eye club? No. Hmm.
Is he and Trump both working towards or working for the New World Order or the WEF?
Are you and Trump working towards the New World Order or the WEF? No.
I didn't think he
According to his personal thoughts and feelings and opinions, no.
When will the Starlink phone be available for the public to purchase?
When will the Starlink phone be available for the public to purchase? In the next 2 years.
Does he get advice from psychics and or astrologers?
He should call me.
I
I would
know,
love to be his personal advisor.
I know.
Do you use psychics? No. Do you use astrologers? No. Do you use mediums? Ooh, he has consulted a medium before. Do you get advice on a regular basis from any remote viewers, psychics, mediums, or astrologers? Do you get advice from them? No. Have you heard of remote viewing? He has. Now, going back, I want to focus a bit on this Keir Starmer thing, um, because that has raised a lot of questions. And I know we'll get through some of the other questions, but that has raised a lot of questions, which is if he is so easily, uh, falling out with Nigel Farage, who is the leader of the Reform Party, they believe that he will easily fall out of favor with Trump, or he could turn on Trump and then tweet a load of secrets and a load of anti-Trump rhetoric out on his platform. You and I, off camera, we asked Spirit if that's a possibility that he will fall out with Trump, and I got a yes. So let's ask Spirit further. Are you going to when Elon falls out with Trump, are they going to become enemies? No. Is he going to turn on Trump? No. Is he going to tweet about the fallout or anything that he disagrees that Trump is doing on Twitter? No.
Okay, so that is a classic British establishment divide and conquer. So, they want to split Trump and uh, Musk up. That would be an exact sort of being because they want them fighting each other, not the British establishment. So that's a classic thing that was put out by a guy who basically is a communist. Um, you
Ian
know,
Hislop. Oh, but
yeah.
I quite like Ian Hislop though
Well,
on
he
Have I
he's an
Got News for
intellectual
You?
and he can be quite funny, but he's bordering on communism. He's been
Well,
around a
he
long while. I mean, his publication has been good in the past. I used to subscribe to it, Private Eye. It does come up with some interesting things, but he was back in his heyday about 20 years ago. He was very good. I'm not so sure now. But obviously he's doing the bidding of some establishment figures there because he's trying to the last thing they want is Trump with Musk on the same page all the time doing everything. So they will do whatever they can to try and sabotage that. Meanwhile, obviously, Musk is giving them some of their own medicine by, pointing out some very dark shadows and secrets that the British establishment don't want people to look into or don't want people to, think about too much. So I think that's going to be an ongoing thing. I don't know what's going to happen to Starmer in the future. I don't know whether he will get deselected by the Labour Party. And I don't know. There's a lot of people over here that would love to have a general election again, but you know, I don't know if that I don't see that happening because There was even some talk on some of the channels of the king dissolving parliament. Well, the king can dissolve parliament theoretically, but I don't think he will. Normally, the king dissolves parliament at the behest of the prime minister, and the prime minister is not going to ask him to dissolve his own cabinet, so I don't his own parliament. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. So
Well, let's ask.
unless the publicity gets so unbearably bad that they have to drop Starmer, I don't know. There might be more in the closet about Starmer in the cupboard rather, not the closet, the cupboard. We don't know. I mean, that's what some people are talking about. I don't know. It's the court of public opinion that almost, it's the optics of everything now, not, that pretty much decides what goes on.
Well, let's ask King Charles. Um, would you dissolve Parliament at the moment, as of today's date, January 9th, 2025? Have you thought about dissolving Parliament? No. Do you like Keir Starmer? No. Will you find a way to get rid of him? He says they're looking into it. Who's looking into it? Ooh, so there's some big people at the top that are already trying to get rid of Keir Starmer. Are
Yeah, well,
they
yeah,
doing it
yeah,
by way of propaganda? Yes. So are they, because propaganda is very powerful,
oh
right?
yeah.
So let's ask King Charles, is it they're going to keep excuse me, printing out in the British press to anti-Starmer articles and anti-Starmer propaganda to turn the public against him? That's the idea. Okay, so there are some big people. Are you part of this? A little bit. Yes.
Yeah, because there is a point where Starmer becomes a liability. Because at the end of the day, they will eat their own rather than have all this come out. So, if he has to take the fall or be boot, he will. He'll do it. I mean, sorry, they'll do it to him whether he likes it or not. Um, to take over his place. None of them are qualified for anything, which is probably why they're all there. It makes them very easy to control. So
Mhm.
we've got those things going on. Meanwhile, obviously the country is going down. He's raised taxes. His chancellor raised taxes. He's cutting off the fuel payments for pensioners for winter. So he's doing all the right things that the globalists want him to do. It's just that if the embarrassment level gets to a certain where they just can't cope with it anymore, they will have to ditch him.
Is that what you're hoping to do, Elon? You're hoping that the public will turn against? He goes, they already have. They've already turned against Starmer. They don't need me to tell them
No,
what to think or to feel.
no,
And
but
I'm saying, but
yeah, but the public can't. The public can't remove him. The public can only sort of make so much noise that
I think because some people, well, I'm just going back to that middle class video. I mean, some people, they just want to hear, Liz, you're a spiritualist. You're a medium. You're supposed to put out peace, love, acceptance. The world is rosy. The light will win. You know, but what they're forgetting is I'm a remote viewer. Therefore, I take a very targeted approach. I want very targeted information about the future that lets us know how to prepare for it.
yeah,
So that's the edge that I have. I'm a remote viewer. I can sit here channeling angels and channeling Jesus and channeling source and all that, but they're not so concerned with our financial future, right? They're more about the war against light versus dark. When it comes to actually living on the earth plane and paying to live here and having children or having grandchildren, that doesn't so much concern. That's earth plane living, right?
yeah, that's
So,
3D stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but hey, if I have to live here in the 3D, I need to know how to do it. And so that's why we get that information in.
Mm.
Moving on with Elon, what other questions do we have?
Um, just having a look. I mean, there's a lot of. Hang on, where are we?
Somebody asked if he was going mad. No, so I'm going to channel spirit for that one. Is Elon going a bit mad? And I'm getting a little bit of a yes. He's becoming more crass. He's becoming more bold. Does he have a filter? Sometimes, but I'm saying, but he just sometimes randomly, not randomly, but he sends out a lot of tweets. And obviously, people are listening to him that are anti-British government. Would you equate that to be madness? Now, Spirit are saying no, but he certainly doesn't seem to have much of a filter.
Do any of these seriously rich people ever have that?
Well, no.
You know, at the end of the day. Does he see the UK economy crashing this year or next year?
Do you see the UK economy crashing in 2025? No, he thinks it's going to give them a couple more years in power and they will firmly crash it by 2027.
Right. Okay.
That's what he said.
Okay. Does he believe that might be by design?
Do you believe that might be by design? Of course it is.
Yeah. Okay. Does he like James Bond movies?
Do you like James Bond movies? No.
Okay.
Why do you think you think he thinks of himself as a bit of a James Bond figure?
No, not at all. It's just I just wonder why, if he did. A lot of people like him, a lot of people don't. But you know, um,
Mm.
a lot of people don't know that Christopher Lee, who I think spoke about 9 languages fluently, whose cousin was Ian Fleming, who wrote the books for James Bond.
Oh,
So that's uh, that's a bit of important trivia there. Okay. Does This is a weird question, but I'll ask it. Okay. Does he have a health issue that causes him to have that barreled chest?
oh, do you have a health issue that causes you to have that barrel chest? Not that he's aware of.
Right. Is he addicted to drugs?
Are you addicted to drugs? Hmm. He does like ketamine.
Whatever that is. Okay. All right.
I don't actually know or understand ketamine. I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell us.
Right. Okay. Um, will he be promoting the Doge token like he did with, oh, hang on, this is the other Doge. This is the Department of Government Efficiency token,
Efficient.
like he did with Doge or Shiba? And if so, when?
Will you be promoting the Doge Department of Government Efficiency token like you did with Shiba or the other Doge? No, he can't do that.
No, didn't think he could. What are his future goals? Is
Hmm.
it to make more money or make money, or is it, does he have a more altruistic approach? And whatever his goals are, how does he plan to achieve them?
What are your future goals? Well, he would love to be able to influence the world. And I'm saying, but how and why do you want to do that? Because he makes money.
Hmm.
And what was the other part of that question?
Well, is it to make money, or does he have any, or is it more? Or no, I'm going to add, or does he have any more altruistic plans?
Do you have any more altruistic plans? I mean, he is for, like he did just say to me, he is for the people, but he can't be poor and for the people, right?
No, that's true. Well, that's true. You can't. Yeah, the days of Gandhi and being like that are over. You've got to have money to have power and influence over other people who otherwise will not acquiesce to what you want because they have power, money, and influence. So you have to
Mm.
almost fight fire with fire. Do you have any plans to introduce the extraterrestrials to us?
Do you
Somebody,
have any plans to introduce any extraterrestrials to us? Not at the moment, no.
is he interfering with European politics because he knows the United States alone cannot keep the world safe if Europe falls into extreme anarchy?
Ooh, that's a good question. Are you interfering in European politics because if Europe falls into complete anarchy, the United States alone cannot fight the world? That's part of the reason. That was a really good question. Yes.
Okay. How's his company Tesla doing?
How's your company, Tesla, doing? It's profitable.
Does he see Tesla's future more in the software realm, or are they going to keep making cars as well?
Do you see Tesla's future more in the software realm or more in the car manufacturing? Software. That was another good question.
That was my question, actually. Nobody
Oh,
asked.
well, thank you, Mr. Shakespeare. Not just a pretty face.
Oh dear. Um, is he going to use robots to take over other automotive companies
Mm.
or Tesla? I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what other automotive companies that he's interested in other than the one he's got. But okay, does he have any plans to use? I'll reword it. Does he have any plans to use robots to take over the manufacturing of vehicles in either Tesla or any other automotive companies that he may will be getting involved with? In other words, is he going to put robots in? I mean, there's robots, lots of companies. I don't really get that question because a lot of car production, vehicle production is done by robots now. Has been for a long time, you know.
So let's ask this question. Would you, if you could, make your entire workforce consist of mainly robots? Absolutely, he would.
You could ask any business owner that, they'd all ask the same because the biggest problem that any business has is labor. And unfortunately, you end up being social workers to things like that. So any business will tell you that. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, that's most business owners would tell you that. And the ones that don't tell you that are lying. Okay. Would he like Liz Cross's phone number?
Oh, would you like Psychic Liz Cross's phone number? Sure, go ahead and give it to me. Yeah, right.
Oh, 800 555. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Dial a psychic.
Yeah, dollar psychic. Yeah. He really should engage your services, you know. He could streamline a lot of problems. The only problem is the rest of the world would lose access to you, Liz.
Well, yeah, because hopefully he would pay me
He'd
very
pay
well.
you
But
so much money and there'd be a non-talk to anybody else clause.
yeah, I know, I know.
Other
But
than perhaps Mr. Shakespeare, who, because being British and all that, he probably would like.
well, you're always good for a laugh, aren't you?
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I've done work for CEOs of companies before, and they have found it to be extremely helpful.
Right. Okay. What does he think? Okay. Does he think that Trump new administration um, will have lots of um, problems trying to, you know, carry through their agenda?
Do you think
And
that
the
Trump?
second part of that question, does he think, you know, with his new job, you know, in the government of, sorry, the efficiency department, does he believe he will have lots of problems? You know, it's Because
Do you,
bureaucrats don't like their life taken away from them. They just don't, do they?
do you think you're going to have a lot of problems in the Department of Government Efficiency? We already are. And do you believe that the Trump administration is going to have a lot of problems pushing through some of their agenda? Not as much as the Department of Government Efficiency is, he says.
He's probably right with that. Yeah. They all talk about smaller government, but nobody in government ever votes for their own demise. Nobody. They just don't, you know. This is one of the classic because he comes from the private sector and everybody he's going to have to deal with is in the public sector. And they do not, they don't, they're not looking forward to anything that he's going to do. I can't imagine any of them wanting to be helpful to him in any way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
That's more of a statement than a question, really. Is Elon planning on chipping, um, chipping people through AI tech?
Are you planning on chipping people through AI tech? No.
Donate money, if he hasn't, to the UK Reform Party.
Are you going to donate money to the UK Reform Party? If I'm allowed to, yes.
Okay. Does he have information about any other scandals in the pipeline that he intends to expose in the future?
Do you have any other information of other scandals in the pipeline that you intend to expose in the future? Several. Are they centered around Keir Starmer? Not necessarily. He's going to go
Are
after the
they centered
UK.
around Britain, UK?
Are they centered around the UK? Yes, I feel like he's going to do something with the police. He's going to expose something with the police.
Does he intend to visit the UK anytime soon?
Do you intend to visit the UK anytime soon? Not a chance.
Of course not. What progress or milestones has he made with Neuralink?
What progress or milestones have you made with Neuralink? They're still going forward with their plans. Yes.
Okay. Um, does he believe that Neuralink will be successful in returning full eyesight to the visually impaired?
Do you believe that Neuralink will be successful in returning full eyesight to the visually impaired? He would like to think so, yes.
Okay. Um, are his intentions truly for the betterment of mankind, or does he hold a more nefarious life purpose?
Are your intentions truly for the betterment of mankind? I think it's I think it's both. His intentions are to make money,
Of course. Yeah.
but also for the betterment of mankind. Which one is more important, making money or the betterment of mankind? He says they go hand in hand. He's not going to say one is more important than.
Will he ever have a company, or does he plan to have a company that will create treatments, anti-aging methods, or cures for terminal illnesses?
The company, or will you plan to have a company that will in time work on anti-aging? No, not anti-aging. He's more about curing disease,
Right. Yeah.
restoring mobility.
Did his father really name him after the book Project, spelt in a different way, written by the rocket scientist Werner von Braun,
Did your father
who named the leader of the Martians the Elon?
did your father really name you after a book? No.
Um, are you still friends with Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen? No, what's his name? Andreessen. Yeah, Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen.
He's still friends with Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen. They're not close. No.
Right. Is he still obsessed, or is he obsessed with Mars, the planet Mars? And
Are
is
you
it
still
because he read books about it when he was about the planet when he was a child?
Are you still obsessed about the planet Mars? Extremely. And was it because you read books? He's always been fascinated by space.
Is that what gives him the drive for SpaceX?
Is that what
Or
gives you the drive for
is this another
SpaceX?
government program that he's part of?
No, it's being competitive that gives him the drive for SpaceX. He likes to be competitive.
Okay. Does he play chess?
Do you play chess? No.
Has there been a special coin that's come out regarding Starlink and or SpaceX?
Has there been a special coin regarding Starlink or SpaceX? Not that he's created, no.
Right. Is he aware of one that somebody else might have created?
Are you aware of one that somebody There's loads out there.
Okay. Are they all jumping on the bandwagon?
Are they all jumping on the bandwagon? Presumably, yes.
Right. Okay. All right. I think that's as far as we can go with Elon on this.
Very interesting. I thought this was going to be a lot more political. Yeah, but we'll see what happens as everything unfolds, especially with Keir Starmer. He actually had to retaliate publicly
Well,
against
Keir Starmer basically came out and said that anybody who has concerns about child rape or grooming gangs is far right. Unbelievable. I mean, that is just unbelievable.
is that what he said?
If
Oh
you're
my
a
gosh.
parent and you have an 8-year-old girl and you're concerned about her being raped or anything like that, you suddenly become far right. I mean,
Hmm. Wow. All right. Well, we'll stop this one here, Mr. Shakespeare. Thank you so much. This was a good probe. Thank you.